Think screw tops mean cheap wine? Think again. One of these closures can actually ruin your wine. Hello and welcome to Toast to Wine, where wine knowledge meets real-world simplicity. My name is Tony. Today, we're diving into one of the most misunderstood debates, screw tops versus corks. You'll learn what makes them different and how to choose the style that meets your needs wisely. And stick around for a bonus tip later in the video where I'll bust a major myth about corks that might change how you shop for wine. For centuries, cork has been the standard way to seal wine bottles. It's harvested from the bark of cork oak trees, mainly in Portugal and Spain, and prized for its natural elasticity and ability to allow for a slow exchange of oxygen, which is important for aging wines. Corks bring a sense of romance and ritual to opening a bottle. That satisfying pop is something many wine lovers associate with special occasions. But here's the downside. Natural cork can harbor a compound called TCA, trichloroanisole, which is the main cause of what's known as cork taint. This happens when natural fungi in the cork come into contact with certain chlorine-based cleaning agents or pesticides that are used during production or packaging. The reaction forms TCA, which, even in tiny amounts, can dull the wine's aromas and give it a musty smell, much like wet cardboard or a damp basement. Now, while TCA is not harmful to drink, it can ruin the wine's flavor and leave you wondering if something's gone wrong. And often, it has. Here are a few interesting facts. A corked wine smells musty, like wet cardboard as I mentioned, and loses its fresh fruit character, even though it's not harmful to drink. Estimates suggest 2 to 5% of wines sealed with natural cork may be affected. Corks can also dry out if a wine bottle is stored upright for extended periods, especially in low humidity environments. When the cork dries out, it can shrink slightly, allowing unwanted oxygen to seep into the bottle. That oxygen exposure can cause the wine to age prematurely or develop off flavors, and this is known as oxidation. That's why wines sealed with cork are best stored on their sides, to keep the cork moist and tightly sealed. Lastly, corks can vary in quality, causing even bottle-to-bottle inconsistency. Have you ever opened a bottle that smelled like wet dog or moldy basement? You may have had a corked wine. Share your experience in the comments. Screw caps, often called Stelvin closures, have been widely used since the 1970s, especially in Australia and New Zealand. They form an airtight seal that prevents both oxidation and TCA contamination, making them incredibly reliable. Screw caps are especially popular for white wines and youthful reds, meant to be enjoyed fresh and fruity. They're convenient, consistent, and travel-friendly. No corkscrew is needed. But they're not without drawbacks. First, screw caps can create a reductive environment, meaning very low oxygen, which may cause sulfur-like aromas in some wines, especially if not managed properly during winemaking. Second, not all consumers perceive screw caps as premium, especially in traditional wine regions where corks have been used for centuries and are tied to heritage, ceremony, and the overall wine experience. In places like France, Italy, or Spain, the cork is often seen as part of a wine's identity. So a screw cap, no matter how practical, can still carry a stigma of being mass-produced or lower quality, even when that's not the case. And third, while they can support aging if equipped with oxygen-permeable liners, they may not age wine in the same way as cork. Yet, this remains a topic of debate among the experts. Modern producers aren't picking closures based on tradition alone. They choose based on wine style, shelf life, and market expectations. For wines meant to be consumed within 5 years, screw caps offer unmatched consistency and freshness. Corks are still often used for age-worthy reds and collectible wines. especially in Old World regions like Bordeaux, Rioja, and Piedmont. Yet top producers in places like Napa Valley and Oregon are beginning to use screw caps, especially for white and rosé wines, or for export markets that prefer them. Would you hesitate to buy a premium wine sealed with a screw cap, or are you all in for the twist? Let us know what you think. Let's break the stereotypes. Screw caps are not a sign of cheap wine. They're a sign of precision and freshness. Corks are not always a sign of quality. They can spoil the wine if flawed. Both closures are used on wines that win awards, age beautifully, and taste incredible. What about sustainability? Natural cork is renewable, biodegradable, and helps preserve cork forests. Screw caps are recyclable and require less energy to manufacture, but they rely on aluminum, a finite resource. So it's not a battle of good versus bad. In the end, it's about what the winemaker wants the wine to do. Here's the myth. Wines need to breathe through the cork to age. The truth? Some screw caps are designed with special liners that allow micro-oxygenation, just like the cork, but in a more controlled and predictable way. So yes, some wines can age beautifully under screw cap, even over decades. The key is the winemaker's intent and how the closure matches the wine style and aging potential. Knowing the difference between corks and screw caps empowers wine drinkers to shop smarter. Whether you're picking a bottle for dinner or building a wine fridge, you'll understand that closure matters, but it's not everything. You'll choose based on the wine's purpose, not just the packaging. So now that you know the pros and cons, are you team cork, team screw cap, or perhaps a little of both? Let's put it all together. Corks offer tradition, age-worthiness, and that familiar pop, but come with the risk of cork taint. Screw caps offer reliability, freshness, and convenience, though not everyone views them as premium. And both closures can be sustainable and effective when matched with the right wine. If this video helped you feel more confident about wine, give it a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to Toast to Wine for more beginner-friendly wine tips and guides. Click on one of these videos now to continue your wine journey. Toast to Wine.